Welcome to our weekly Kapihan sa Senado, and our guest for today, the chairman of Committee on Local Government and one possible presidential candidate in 2016 elections. Let us all welcome Senator Bongbong Marcos. Hi, sir. Good morning.
Thank you, Shelly. Good morning, everyone. At matagal na tayo hindi nagkita. Mahaba-haba na itong...
Sir, lagi kang hindi available.
Lagi ako nasa labas kasi pinagsamantala ko na itong bakasyon. So I've been traveling around, hindi lamang sa Pilipinas, but even abroad. I just came from China. Nag-attend ako ng conference doon ng mga NGO. So that's why nalipat ito. It was supposed to be last week. Anyway, nice to see you. Marami tayong pag-uusapan.
Yes, sir. So yung muna ang imminent problem nowadays as chairman ng Committee on Local Government. Sir, may we know what is the liability of local chief executives who failed to relocate yung mga informal settlers along Estero na matagal na hong na-identify na dapat i-relocate dahil bukod sa dangerous na doon sila nakatira, sila yung cause ng pagbabaha dahil doon sila nagtatapon ng basura?
Well, ang problema talaga dyan is that the question of relocation is not that simple. If you have a local government, and let us say that it has been identified that there's an area of informal settlers, squatters, that are under the control of syndicates, na sinasabi, meron ng court na order, yung sumusunod sa batas, yung paglipat ng ganun, unang-una, kadalasan ay lumipat yung tao. The other situation is that there's especially in Metro Manila, saan mo ilalagay? Now, when you relocate a community, because that is essentially what you're doing, you have to build facilities at the relocation center where they are going. It has to be accessible. It has to be close to people's jobs. There have to be health services, schools, markets, things like that. Hindi lang basta lilipat, isasabihin mo, yan ang relocation yung center, bahala na kayo dyan. You have to prepare the area to receive. So it's not that simple, kaya hindi natin pwedeng sisihin talaga yung local government lamang. That is more to do with the squatter problem than anything else. Dahil ang katotohanan is that the relocation problem has arisen because the arise of the organized syndicates that kasi kung pupuntahan mo yung mga squatters, sasabihin mo, ba't di kayo lumipat dito, bibihan, meron kayo, sasabihin nila, legit naman yung kami dahil nagbabayad kami ng rent, yun pala, binabayaran nila, hindi may-ari ng lupa, kundi yung sindikato. So this is the kind of problem that you have to face. It's really deeply entrenched at politically, siyempre, nahihirapan lahat kasi siyempre ayaw nila sasabihin, basta paalisin yung mga squatter dahil kahit papano, that has a political cost to anyone who is running as a candidate. So it's not that simple a problem. Now, if we're talking about the flooding that we've been seeing in the past few weeks, the simple fact that since Pepe and Nandoy, we have done absolutely nothing to fix the flooding. Nothing has been done. There's no new spillway, there's no new pumping station, there is not even there's no reforestation, the highlands surrounding the city. Wala tayong ginawa. Marami tayong sinasabi, tignan ninyo. Dati, kailangan mga 2 araw na mabigat na ulan bago magbaha. Ngayon, 1 oras lang, 2 oras lang, medyo malakas ang ulan, wala na, nagsasara na yung mga eskwelahan. So, we have to really come up with a more, shall we say, aggressive reaction to this problem. Hindi lang natin pwedeng sabihin, ay, hindi pwede yan, masama yan, kawawa naman yung mga tao, tapos wala naman tayong ginawa. But essentially, that is what has happened. We have made all the right noises in government. We have all said that this is not right, and there are certain people who need to be blamed, who are liable, etc. But the truth of the matter is, we have done absolutely nothing. And that is where the problems lie. That's why, unless we do, this is just going to grow worse and worse. And the problem has many dimensions. It's not simple that you're saying that there are too many people in Metro Manila. That's part of it. But the fact of the matter is that the actual housing developments have been allowed to build upon what are creeks and rivers and kung saan dumadaan ng tubig. So inevitably, kahit na ilipat mo yung ilog o yung creek, pagka malaki ang tubig, doon din dadaan yun. At yan, sumusunod lang naman sa lupa yan. Sumusunod lang yung tubig, sumusunod lang sa terrain. So unless we have, we do something, we have some very active measures that we're going to undertake, then this problem will only get worse.
Sir, some are saying na political will lang daw yung kailangan. Kasi according to DPWH Secretary Rogelio Singson, kaya hindi na-relocate like last summer season yung mga informal settler because the local officials are asking wag muna because there is election. So it means alaga ho ba ng mga local official dito mga informal settler dahil nagagamit?
Hindi naman sa alaga, pero siyempre maintindihan ninyo, boto yan eh. So mawawala lahat yun, hindi ba? There are some local governments, hindi na kailangan siguro banggitin kung sino sila. Pero talagang ini-encourage sila pumasok ang squatter. Para sila meron silang core group na botante. Meron mga ganun. So this kind the political tama siguro it's political will, somebody who is willing to expend political capital to do the relocation. But again, there are hindi lamang sa politika yan eh. That's part of it. But as I said, it's not as simple. For example, if you have 100 households na talagang may court order na squatter sila, meron ka ng relocation center, paano mo gagawin? Unang-una, there will be the prospect of the police, the usual na nakikita natin na sinisira yung mga barong-barong, pinapalis yung mga tao, nag-aaway-away, nagkakarayot. This kind of thing is something that nobody wants to have. Secondly, the cost of relocation, although there are some funds available, essentially ang local government ang maghahanap niyan. And if it is not within the confines of your own jurisdiction, you have to get the agreement. Halimbawa, maglilipat ka ng tiga na botas. Saan mo dadalhin? Alam nga naman, dali mo sa Bulacan. And even if you dadalhin mo sa Bulacan, you have to get the agreement of the local government in Bulacan. That requires, you have to put up infrastructure, maglalagay ka ng kalsada, you have to make sure that there's power there, that there's water, that there's maraming hindi maliit na basta sasabihin the local government is in charge of relocation. This is one of those things, again, that the national government, in the name of devolution, has just passed on to the local government without really giving any support. This originally was not part of the local government's function. This was the function of the Housing Authority, NHA, to find areas for relocation. But again, this has not been supported by the national government, so they can only do so much.
So sir, with the partnership of Vice President Jejomar Binay and DILG Secretary Mar Rojas, despite of their political differences, sa tingin nyo, makatutulong ito? Kasi si Bibi Binay daw maghahanap ng relocation site habang sina Secretary Rojas, sila magkukonvince sa mga informal settlers to relocate.
Well, I hope they succeed, but it has been tried before. I've never seen the Vice President and the Secretary work together, so we'll have to watch and see how that partnership will work out. But lahat naman yan, alam na natin, there are no secret problems here. We all know what needs to be done. And yes, it's a combination of political will, of actual planning. Ang problema kasi is that napapag-usapan natin sa Senado about the land use plan. We don't have a proper land use plan. What land use plan we have, hindi naman sinusundan. So that's why it is essential that we understand precisely what every piece of land is supposed to be used for. We do not have that now. We do not have a general plan. We simply do not have a plan. Kaya wala tayong ginagawa. Now, if we're going to take, let's say, relocation, sinong mauuna? Will it be the ones, inevitably, it's always Metro Manila, because Metro Manila, nandito tayo, nakikita natin, tayo mismo na natatraffic o na-delay or whatever, nararamdaman natin. So, Metro Manila. But there are other areas in the country that also need help. And it is maybe not to do with the flooding, but relocation of the squatters. How do we prioritize them? We cannot, hindi na pwede itong nagre-react na lang tayo. Baka may nangyari, nagre-react na lang tayo. Tapos, nabaha dito sa Manila, nagre-react na lang tayo, Manila na lang na matutulungan. Paano yung mga squatters sa ibang lugar? Paano yung mga LGU sa ibang lugar, nasa probinsya? Huwag natin laging iniisip na kung ano yung nasa Maynila, yun lamang ang problema. Metro Manila is a very important part, but it is only one part of the Philippines.
So sir, the problem is getting worse, pero sabi niyo nga in the past years, parang walang ginawa yung government.
I have not seen any major program to alleviate the problem of flooding. Can you imagine? The last time we had this problem, ang naging problema dahil hindi nag-coordinate yung City of Taguig at saka yung MMDA para dun sa bomba, pinatay yung bomba dun sa pumping station. I mean, we do not even have that kind of simple procedures in place. So we have to take a really long, hard look at this problem, and it is something that we had tried to do before, but siguro the problem has overwhelmed us already. Dahil dumami ang tao sa Metro Manila, at dumami ang mga naka-block na estero at saka ng mga ilog na dinadaanan ng tubig. That's why it's escalating and escalating. That's now, if you remember, although it was 5 years ago.
2009.
Oh,
2009.
4 years ago?
Wala pa rin.
How long did it take before? Mga isang linggo na umuulan. Ngayon, isang oras lang, 2 oras na. Nagsasara na. So you can see that the problem is getting worse. And we have to take a very good look at it. And we have to do something major. Hindi pwedeng tingi-tingi lang just reacting to this. We have to plan. We have to look. These plans are actually already in place. Nagawa na ito ngayon. Let's review those plans. Baka magamit pa natin.
So sir, who is to be blamed? Who is to be blamed?
All of us. We are all to be blamed. We are all in government. We are all to be blamed. We should be doing something about this. Maybe you can say that it's because it is in Metro Manila is the problem, but you can say MMDA. MMDA now saying it's actually public works. And hindi sila, nagtuturuan sila for the last 2 days. It's hard to ascribe blame that simply, because it will take the efforts of many entities, many government agencies to get this right. And my policy towards these things, pag may problema, let's fix the problem, not the blame. Ayusin muna natin ang problema. Then we can go back and see who misbehaved, sino nagpasul, sino nagbigay ng permit na hindi dapat, sino may mga ganun. Pero basta ka na natin balikan yun. Unahin natin ang kalagayan ng mga tao na nababaha, na hindi makapasok. Yung mga bata hindi makapunta sa eskwela, sinususpindi nga ang klase. All of these problems are immediate, and we have to take care of them first. Before trying to say that it was him or it was her or it was somebody else. So, saka na muna yan. Our priorities lie in solving the problem, or should lie in solving the problem.
Okay, Mayan?
Sir, yung 6 months sinasabi ng MMDA, to solve the flooding, do you think it's possible?
Well, if they're determined and they have already assessed exactly what they need to do, maybe they have, hindi pa lang na-implement. Pero kung meron sila talagang magandang plano, you're trying to control the flow of water from the highlands to the sea. And you're talking about natural forces. Natural forces are, by definition, extremely large forces. 6 months sounds to me like a very short time to be doing it in. This is going to be if it is going to be a long-term solution, it has to be studied very well, because what's their plan? What they say they can fix it in 6 months by doing what? We haven't seen.
Sir, basically yung pinalatag nilang solusyon is clearing ng waterways, elevation. Will that work?
That's not enough. That's not enough. That's part of the ways to solving the problem, but that's not enough. Clearing the waterways, again, if there are squatters on the waterways, what are you going to do? Balik na naman tayo doon sa problema. Alam mo, nangyari dito sa Metro Manila, hindi lang squatter ang nagbabara ng estero at saka ng mga waterways. Meron na talagang actual development, housing development, na nabigyan ng permit, na nagtayo doon sa pinagdadaanan ng tubig, doon sila nababaha. Then the drainage problem is also a very large one. You have to, halukatin mo yung yung ating flood control, ating mga drainage na ginagawa na nakapara din, kailangan paramihin. Kung talagang desididong pamahalaan na gagawin ito, magagawa naman ito eh. Kaya naman, paulit-ulit kong sinasabi, kaya naman umabot tayo sa ganito, ay dahil mula nung Pepe Ondoy, wala tayong ginagawa.
Okay, Brian.
Sir, tatagal daw po ng 22 years bago matapos yung 351 billion na master plan ng pamahalaan para masolusyonan.
22 years?
22 years.
2037.
Masyado naman yata mahaba yun. Yung 6 months baka masyado mabilis, pero yung 22 years, paano yung mga, that's the next generation already. I don't see why it should take that long. I don't see why it should take that long. The only flood control program which I'm familiar with was done in my mother's time, nung siyang governor ng Metro Manila. And that took less than 5 years. And that was a significant improvement. So I think, basta't we understand very well what we are doing, and desidido nga ang pamahalaan na gawin, hindi naman siguro dapat tumagal ng 22 years. And if it's going to take 22 years, that's not a proper response anymore by government. Napakahina naman ng gobyerno natin if it's going to take 22 years to respond to a... yung 3 years lang, hindi natin natatapos eh. Dahil magbabago ng leadership. O tapos, mag-umpisa lang 3 years, kung ayaw na naman na susunod. We are 2016, magbabago yung presidente. Hindi baka hindi na naman ituloy. So, hindi natin dapat patagalin ng ganun 22 years.
So sir, as legislator, ano yung pwedeng may tulong ng Congress? Is there any legislation na kailangan to solve this problem?
I don't think so. I think the executive has every means available to solve this problem. It is in the executive department, not only at the national level but also at the local level. There is nothing that we can like for example, yung mga violation na sinabi ko na wala na nga kahoy na dito sa paligid ng Metro Manila, number 1. That's all illegal. All that logging was illegal. Wala nang nagtatayo nga sa waterway ng development. That's illegal. There's no need, we don't need a new law. That's clearly not supposed to be done. Pero nangyayari pa rin. So, as usual, dito sa atin, maraming batas, magagandang batas, nasa implementation yan. And so the implementation belongs squarely with the executive. And as I said, it is not only at the national level, although this is essentially a national problem. The weight should really mostly fall on the national government, but also in the local government units. Na yung mga executives, kailangan din, unang-una kailangan nila maunawaan kung ano yung mga dapat nilang gawin. And that can only come from the national level. Sasabihin ng ating mga ng pag-asa, sasabihin ng lahat ng ahensya ng national government, kayo dito sa lugar ninyo, etong sitwasyon, eto yung mga nangyayari, eto yung mga dapat ninyong gawin. And that, yun naman local government, gawin nila yung kailangan nilang gawin. But it really will have to, it will take, it's a big problem, at saka hindi naman doon lamang sa isang lugar. Because we're talking about natural phenomena here. So when we're talking about natural phenomena, hindi nangingilala yan ng boundary. Hindi nangingilala yan ng bundok, hindi nangingilala yan ng ilog, ng dagat. Basta't dumaan ang bagyo, basta't bumagsak ang ulan, the administrative regions that we put together become less and less important. And that's something that we have to really, these turf wars that we are seeing, really have to be dispensed with. Otherwise, we will never get a handle on the problem.
So, sir, it's about time na ba? Consider natin yung style sa Venice, sa Italy.
Huwag naman sana. Eh, pati yung Venice, lumulubog eh. So, that doesn't seem to be a solution for us either in the long run.
Okay, Mayan, and then Mang Mario.
Sir, isa sa mga options ng MMDA for now, since parang tanggap na raw yung baka, i-adjust na lang yung working time. Like 7 to 3. Tayo na lang
Solution ba yun, sir?
I-adjust ang time ng trabaho.
Oo, para maiwas dun sa... paiba-iba naman yung oras
Are
ng
you
pagulan.
serious? And what about the other offices? The rest of the world is operating at 9 to 5, 8 to 5. You will now change your schedule to 7 to 3.
Agahan na lang daw, sir, kasi sa hapon.
Hindi nga, hindi yata solution yun eh. I don't think that's going to work. People will still go in because no naman, like for example, government offices, papalitan mo yung oras from 7 to 3. Hindi pwede. Because government offices work with each other. Also, the other government offices will be 8 to 5, but the others will be 7 to 3. Parang hindi mahirap yatang makita kung how that will work. What will end up is that people will stay until 5. They may have to come in by 7, but they will stay till 5 because hindi pa tapos eh. Ganun naman talaga, ganyan naman talaga. Now in corporate offices, the same thing. Banking hours will have to change. This just doesn't sound to me like a solution at all. It sounds to me like parang suntok sa buwan, baka sakali it will work. Hindi naman dapat ang pagplano natin sa ganyang klaseng sitwasyon.
Okay, Mang Mario.
Hi, good morning.
Sir, I've covered public works during the martial law years. I've seen the public works bureau, and it became a department undertaking public flood control projects. And the way I see it, I don't know whether you agree, whether the failure to reforest the denuded countries and the runaway population growth are these factors that are causing flood problems.
Definitely. Anytime there is flooding in the lowland areas, it is because of the denudation of forests. There's no other. It's it's been shown over and over again over the last 100 years that's basically the situation. And that if you denude your forests, inevitably what will happen is that your topsoil will be washed away. Your lowlands will be flooded, and you cannot control the flow of the water simply because there's nothing there to absorb some of that water as it comes down from the mountains. So malaking bagay talaga. Hindi na naggugulat nga ako that one of the first solutions to any situation of flooding is reforest the watershed. Always. Reforest the watershed. That's the first thing and the reason why it's the first thing is because it's the one that takes most time to take effect. Kasi magtatanim ka ng kahoy, it will take 3, 4, 5 years bago lumaki yun para talagang maramdaman mo yung effect na ina-absorb niya yung tubig bago makababa sa lowlands. So that's the first thing that needs to be done. And we do not talk about it enough. I don't know, maybe because it is such a big problem. The illegal logging that has been allowed to go on in the last, I don't know how many years, 20, 30 years, will have to be reversed. The effects of that will have to be reversed. And that will take a great number of trees and a great many people planting those trees and some time to allow the trees to grow. Of that reforestation will be for pag dumating sa flooding. Malaking bagay ang reforestation. The very first reaction, hindi na kailangan dapat isipin ito eh. Kung nagkabaha, reforest the watershed kung saan nanggagaling yung tubig. That's the number one thing you do. And then you can go down and talk about spillways and pumping stations, etc., etc.
Okay, any other related question or other issue na tayo? Okay.
Sir, would it be wise to legislate the barring of informal settlers from voting in the local elections para matrim yung pag-encourage sa kanila?
Good luck with that.
Local lang naman, sir. National, they can vote.
Yeah, but
Parang hindi behold.
no, that seems contrary to our usual. You cannot disallow somebody from voting. That is not a privilege. That is a right. So no, I cannot see how you can remove that right. That is a central pillar of democracy. Is that every man, every woman is allowed to vote.
Pero partial lang naman, sir.
Hindi yata pwede yun. I could not subscribe to something like that because that would be taking away the people's right to suffrage, and that's just unacceptable.
Penalty na lang, sir.
Penalty sa
Mga local official na hindi, o kaya doon sa mga informal settlers. No, kasi hindi ba, sir, ano na sila? Sindikato.
pero hindi yung mismong settler, yung sindikato ang dapat mong habulin, hindi yung pangkaraniwan na tao na naghahanap lang ng matirahan. That's not their fault. They're being victimized by the syndicates. The syndicates are the ones you need to run after. Pero ang problema, pag hinahabol yung sindikato, kinakampanya yung kalaban nung kung sinong naghahabol sa kanila. Kinakampanya dun sa kanilang mga tenant. Informal tenant. So, as I said, it's not a simple problem. It's not a simple problem. That's why 6 months sounds to me, considering, ito lang yung mga napag-usapan natin. Yung 6 na buwan, Mario, di ba? How big is a tree after 6 months? Wala pa. It hasn't really taken effect yet. As I said, ngayon pa lang. We've been talking for 20 minutes. Ang dami na nating na-identify na areas na kailangan bigyan ng atensyon para malutas ng, at least, hindi naman malutas, pero mabawasan lang itong problema ng flooding.
Okay. Other issue naman po, sir.
Let me guess.
Okay. Sir, Nationalista Party has the biggest number of senators. So,
we?
Yeah.
We are 5.
Oh, how about Senator Miriam and
Counted among you, sir.
Miriam is counted. Well, she's not technically. Yeah, I suppose, yeah. No.
So, amenable na po kayo kay Senator Franklin Drilon as next Senate President, or is it still possible na mag-nominate pa rin ang NP ng other candidate for Senate
Well,
President?
today is the 19th. The SONA is on the 22nd of next month. So we have more than a month. So these things are not yet, hindi pa nakatagala sa bato kung anong mangyayari sa 22nd. Marami pang usapan. There are negotiations, discussions, call them what you will, at every level. At the party level, party to party, at the individual level, senators to other senators. So, although, syempre, because Senator Frank is you could call him the front runner when it comes to the Senate presidency. You can call him the front runner, but you know, what everybody else is going to do, what UNA is going to do, what LP is going to do, what the new minority is going to do, yung grupo ni still Senate President JP is going to do. All of these things, everybody, it's a moving target, so everyone is still talking to each other. Tapos, I'm sure, trying to find an accommodation so that as much as possible, mapagbigyan lahat ng senador. So, again, ang daming naging pronouncement nung ano pa lang just after proclamation of the senators, ang daming naging pronouncement na this is happening, napapanig dito, napapanig diyan. But I've been talking to, siyempre, the president of our party, Senator Manny Villar, together with Senator-elect Cynthia, Senator Alan, Senator Sani, kami mga NP, nag-uusap-usap kami. It's not that what will happen is not really set in stone, as I said right now. Marami pang pwedeng mangyari, and mahaba pa. We have more than a month. before the first session of the new Congress.
So sir, hindi pa final yung sinabi ni Senator Franklin Drilon na nag-agree na ang NP dun sa common candidate for Senate President? That's not yet final pa.
No, I don't see that it is. No, I don't know that we can categorically state that. I don't know that we can categorically state that. We are very much, as you can imagine, hanggang dumating nga ang July 22, everybody will be talking to everybody else. We will be talking to the candidates for Senate President. We'll be talking with each other. And every time there's a discussion, something can change. So hindi naman natin pwede sabihin kung ano ba yung naging ano ba yung mga iniisip sa ngayong araw na ito. Eh kung mag-usap uli kami o mag-usap uli yung isang grupo sa isang grupo, maaaring magbago pa yan. So I think it's still a little early to definitively say that it is one thing or the other, that the one group will go this way or the other group will go that way. So you have to remember that we are only one house also of Congress. Kailangan din natin pagmasdan at tignan kung ano yung nangyayari sa house. Kasi magiging mahirap din para sa isang partido na nasa majority sa house, nasa minority sa Senado, or vice versa. So these kind of situations have to be resolved, and those situations are cropping up, and that's why these things are not, you cannot, as I said, you cannot categorically say na tapos na ang usapan, wala nang kailangan i-decide, wala nang kailangan desisyonan, dahil palagay ko marami pang kailangan pag-usapan at marami pang kailangan pag-desisyonan.
Sir, when was the last time na nakausap niyo si NP President Manny Villar? Nagkaroon ba ng meeting ang mga NP senators?
Yes, the day before, the night before last.
And you talk about the Senate leadership.
We spoke precisely about that. We were at the wedding. Nagkita-kita kami lahat. Sabi, halika, magkape muna tayo. Nag-usap kami ng mga 2-3 oras. Precisely on that subject. What's really happening? Ano ba nagiging sitwasyon? What is the situation of the individual senators? And as I said, hindi natin as I came away from the meeting, hindi ko masasabi na okay, ayos na, tapos na. Meron pang mga issue na kailangan na bigyan ng pansin.
Sir, okay.
If the situation remains parang do it, no?
Yeah, okay.
Pero what would be the factors that could change what has already been pronounced so far?
Well, what has been announced is not, as I said, definitive.
So what could change that?
Anything. The factors that are, of course, alam naman ninyo, it's going to be the committee chairmanships are going to be key. As to what committee chairmanships, what positions in the Senate leadership are going to be negotiated. None of that has been decided. None of it has been decided. Pro tem, majority floor, wala pa. None of that has been decided. Minority, although...
Pero so nagpo-float ng name nila Senator Pia Cayetano as majority floor leader.
But again, it hasn't been decided. It has been offered, but it hasn't been decided. So none of that is yet definitive. Lahat yan napapag-usapan. These are positions. What if this? What if that? Ano kaya kung ganito? Yun ang mga nagiging usapan ngayon.
So sir, NP will demand for the major committees, considering na kayo ngayon may malaking bilang po?
It really doesn't come down to, at this point, it's really down to the individual senators within the party. So, siyempre, meron tayong preference. Alam naman ninyo na the process is really very simple. Na nangyayari dyan is that, anong preference ninyo? I would like to be on this committee, on that committee, etc., etc. So yun, medyo nabigay na namin as individual senators. But after that initial giving of that initial list, may adjustment pa yan. Hindi ko kung hindi ko kaya ibigay ito, pwede ba ito na lang, ganyan. That I'm sure you are familiar with that process. That's what's going on now.
So in your case, ano pong committee ang hinihingi niyo, sir?
Hindi bali na muna. Pag-usapan, let us leave it first within our private discussions because I don't want to preempt anyone by saying this, that, or the other thing. But let us just say that everyone has been able to... Nobody naman... Actually, wala namang hard and fast eh. Ang hinihingi nila, preference. Ano preference nyo? Oh, ito. Kung hindi pwede yan, pwede ito na lang. Ganyan. Ganun naman talaga. That's really how it works. So, that's where we are now.
Okay, Mayan.
Sir, yung sa meeting, you're still exploring the idea of fielding your own candidate from NP for Senate presidency?
We are open to anything. We have not yet decided on not fielding. We are just discussing. You know, you have to, from our perspective, it is very, very early days. We really, you cannot make any decisions now because may mangyayari pa between now and the 22nd. So siguro, ang asahan talaga ninyo, 1 week, less than 1 week before the 22nd, I can come and tell you, eto ang mangyayari. But not until then.
1 week before the opening of
maybe even less. Marami ang last minute eh. Baka sakalin mga siyempre everyone is trying to get the best situation at least for themselves and for the party. So we're not going to stop until whilst the question is still open. We will keep trying our best to do the best for ourselves, for our party, etc. Ganun naman talaga.
So, sir, right now, yung Nationalista Party, bukod sa LP, you're talking with other group pa?
Of course.
Including the possible minority bloc?
Well, as I said, you have to remember, the Senate is only one house of Congress. There are things also going on. Tignan ninyo yung dynamics sa House. Yun, mas magulo pa. O kasi mas maraming player, mas maraming partido. They are now, ilan ba sila ngayon? 280 plus yung... So, party list yun. Napakarami na nila. Now, the new phenomenon is that the party list congressmen are beginning to align with the major parties. And that seems to be a trend that has started in the last election that is continuing now. So how those alignments will come out? As I said, it is difficult for a party or a group, a bloc, whatever you want to call it, to be in the majority in the Senate and be in the minority in the House, and vice versa, minority in the House and minority in the Senate and majority in the House. So these kind of issues have to be resolved not only within the House of Representatives, in the House of the Senate, but also within the parties, within the groups, within the blocs. We have seen before what is now being called the NPC formula na hinahati. Hinahati yung partido, yung iba, naalala ninyo, yung iba naglakas, yung iba hindi, nag-oposisyon. That might happen with some of them. I don't know if the NPC will do the same. I don't know if the NUP will do the same. But you have to see what is happening in the Senate in the context of the whole Congress. That is why it's not as simple. Kung kami lang, there are 24 of us, palagay ko sa 24 siguro naman na hindi na masyado mahirap makahanap ng solusyon. But we are part only of parties and we are only one house of Congress. So it complicates or it opens up, shall we say. It doesn't naman complicate, but it opens up many more possible compromises because there are many more factors at play if you consider the Congress as a whole.
Okay, Estong and then Baby Lynn.
Sir, di yung 9 na nanalo dun sa last election not necessarily na magiging kakampiyon ng majority na ngayon. Na sinasabi nilang majority na sila.
Hindi nga.
Ano implication ng 9 na yun?
Magandang example. Yung una, nagsabi na, hindi ba, sa House hindi sila pwedeng mag-majority. Mag-minority. They will be in the majority. Pero dito sa Senado, mukhang nasa minority sila. So that hindi maliwanag. that's a perfect example. That's why that's the kind of complication I'm talking about. Ngayon, to continue with our example, una might just decide, we'll just have to live with it. Iba yung position natin sa House, iba yung position natin sa Senado. But I'm sure as much as possible, they would like to align their position in the House, and the same with the MP, the same with the LP. Well, the LP clearly is in the majority. The same with the NUP, although the NUP has no senators. The same with the NPC. Lahat yan. Kaya nga, as I said, you have to always remember the context of we're talking about the entire legislature, not only one house.
So sir, you na-mention me before na parang marriage for convenience lang yung nangyari talaga na coalition last election. So pwede bang hanggang election lang talaga yung coalition? Pag nag-start na yung Congress, magkakahiwa-hiwalay na, sir?
At maliwanag naman, that has unfortunately become the phenomenon dito sa atin na mga partido really are not ideologically based. They are merely based on elections. Kung sino magsasama sa eleksyon na ito. And from election to election, there are movements na nagbabago, yung mga nagsasama, hindi nakasama, etc., etc. So the coalitions, let us call it, the coalitions, nung nakaraan na halalan, ang NPC nagdeklara almost 1 year before the election that their supposed coalition was already non-existent. If you remember, Senator Tito Soto was already telling everyone, wala na yung coalition namin, hindi na nabuo dahil hindi kami nagkasundo. I can only talk about nationalista. Nationalista naman, the campaign was run independently from the Team Pinoy. Although our candidates joined them, the actual campaign was not run together, was not run as a integrated campaign with all the senators included. So you can see that it was very much it has become very much a marriage of convenience, and it is not even a marriage that's very kung minsan it's not very long lasting. Hindi na nga, kung minsan yun na nga, nung nakaraan na election, hindi nga umabot ng election yung iba. So you can see that that's generally going to be the case. And yes, maaari mo sabihin na pagkatapos ng halalan, pagka-proklamat, clean sheet lahat na naman yan. We're starting from zero. Okay, where do we stand now? What do we do? Those coalitions that we talked about previously, they still have some, they still mean something. But we are essentially renegotiating our contracts after the election.
So sir, hindi ka committed under the mere fact na tumakbo ka under the admin party, yung 9 senators na nanalo. They are not committed na manatili.
I think on the administration side, kung tumakbo na Team Pinoy na pumasok na that more or less are considered now LP, they will probably stand with the majority. Oo. So,
bago ako magtanong, happy wedding anniversary pala kay Selly kahapon daw.
Grabe na.
Ang ganda kasi ng ngiti niya kasi siyempre nag-anniversary sila last night. Sir.
Romantic dinner ba? Romantic.
Ang tanong.
Ikaw talaga wala.
Ang tanong. So, yung mangyayari ngayon sa Senado or sa whole Congress, malaking factor yung 2016.
Yan na, sabihin ko na lang, alam naman ninyo yan ang pinakamalaking factor. Yan ang pinakamalaking factor. That's why, kung sino man ang tinutuko, ang sinasabi ng presidentiable, asahan ninyo hindi tutulungan ng administrasyon.
Ikaw tutulong ka ba sa administrasyon?
Lagi.
Lagi.
Always.
Sir, with the at least 20 representatives from the House, including your mother, who ran under KBL but is considered NP, and 5 here at the Senate, anong positioning ng NP? this Congress, this coming 16th Congress?
Well, siyempre, like for example, iniisip mo yung mga congressman, it is really to the advantage of a congressman to be in the majority. Sa Senado, it's not that hindi ganun ka importante, pwede ka pa rin magtrabaho, marami ka pa rin magagawa kahit na nasa minority ka. So, as a party, kailangan din namin alalayan yung mga nasa House. Kaya nga napabanggit ko, kailangan natin maalala na meron kaming miyembro na nasa House. Meron din kaming miyembro na local government. So, kailangan din namin alalayan ang aming ibang miyembro, hindi lamang yung mga senador. So, it is always the tendency, let's say if you're a governor, if you're a city mayor, if you're a congressman, mas gusto mong nakapanig ka sa administrasyon. Natural. Dahil, siyempre, nauuna ka sa pag-request, napapagbigyan ka, etc. Whereas in the previous administrations, hindi ko alam ngayon so much, pero in the previous administrations, nung nasa house ako, and I was in the minority, talagang halos wala kaming trabaho dahil wala naman kami maipasa na bill. Wala naman kaming project dahil wala kaming PNAF. So nobody wants to be in that situation. So as much as possible, we would like to give the congressmen and the local government officials who are ostensibly under the Nacionalista Party, we would like to give them as big a chance as possible to do some good work during their incumbency, during their term. But again, nabanggit na ngayon 2016, that is becoming a very big factor. And a lot of the decisions that are going to be made when it comes to the minority-majority, both in the House and the Senate, will be impacted by the thought of sino ba ang lilitaw sa 2016? Sino ba mga magiging kandidato? So clearly, Vice President has declared his intention to run for the presidency 2 years ago pa. So clearly, hindi sila tutulungan. Because unless, this is where it gets complicated. Unless sa palagay nila may pag-asa pa na kukunin si Vice President Binay as the candidate for the LP in 2016. So, it's not simple. It's not simple.
Sir, can the NP adapt an NPC formula? Merong nasa majority, merong nasa minority. At least at the Senate, sir.
We would really want to avoid that. It might happen, pero hanggat maaari, hindi namin gustong gawin. Dahil mawawala ang influence mo. Because instead of becoming 5 senators, you're 1. So naturally, the voice of 5 senators moving as a block is much louder than the voice of 1 senator just moving by himself.
Sir, at this point in time, nakausap na po kayo ni Senator Drilon regarding your preferences? And anong mga initial agreements po?
Wala pa nga sinasabi, siyang mismo na sige, pag-usapan natin, tignan natin. Because, yun na, marami pang kailangan pagkakasyahin niya lahat ng mga requests kung maaari. Hanggat maaari, he is the leading front runner in terms of the Senate presidency. He will try to accommodate as many requests or preferences as possible. But again, as you can imagine, it's the big committees na hinihingi ng lahat. So that's going to be a little bit of a juggling act for Senator Frank.
Okay, Baby Lynn and then Badet.
Sir, follow up lang. So it's really a super political decision between the support to Vice President Binay and Secretary Mar Rojas, whether you as a party will support Senator Drilon's bid for the Senate presidency?
No. I am saying that is the administration's approach. Kami iniisip namin, hindi yung 2016 doesn't really come into our discussion. Pero ang nagiging reaction so far from the administration mukhang is it is influenced by the political considerations that they expect or anticipate will arise in 2016.
And only this political thing is only between these two floating candidates?
No. It's between anyone who is considered to be a possible presidential candidate.
Okay, Badet.
Sir,
Sir, regarding committee chairmanships, would you like to retain your local government, or you have other committee in mind to lead?
Yung local government, I don't know. Actually, we never got that far yet into the. I still, in terms of local government, I still feel that I have a lot to do in local government, because the revisions the amendments that we want to introduce for the local government code, we've only really just begun. Kasi pinag-aaralan nga namin ng matagal. We've tried to talk to as many of the local government officials as possible, and these are very important and necessary. So that maybe I would like to continue in that regard. At least in housing, I wouldn't mind keep going, but you know, I'm a little frustrated sa housing because although linagay sa LEDAC yung housing, hindi naman tinutuloy. So parang we're stuck. We've been stuck for over a year. If you remember, na third reading na namin ang DHUD, napakatagal na. And somehow in Congress, sa House hindi gumagalaw. Apparently upon the instructions of the palace. So, kung ganun ang mangyayari, ano pang magiging trabaho namin?
Okay, Mayan, and then Estom.
Sir, ako isang clarification.
Sir, ibig sabihin, just to clarify, wala talagang common candidate ang LP at NP for Senate President?
Nothing yet. No, nothing is definite. Because minority, majority. Let's be realistic about this. Everyone, all things being equal, would prefer to be in the majority. Simply because you are in alliance with the administration, and that way you are given, siguro mas napapagbigyan ka nga is the phrase that I like to use. But in terms of decisions made, wala pa talaga. Anything can happen. You can find that on the 22nd, the NP is in the majority. You might find that it's in the minority. You might find na naghati. Anything can happen still. Anything can happen.
So, sir, there will be a series of meeting between groups ba?
Walang tigil mula nung nagproklama. Since the senator, the final, all the senators were proclaimed, we've been talking and talking every chance we get. Nag-uusap kami at least once or twice weekly. We sit down for a good discussion on what to do next.
Okay,
sir, pwede namin sabihin not so fast. Pwede, okay. Mag-sideline lang ako, sir. May reports na may reports na yung sa ibang topic naman, sir, na yung tobacco industry sa North, na-enrich daw yung mga corrupt official dun sa North.
Bakit?
Because of the tobacco industry, sa mga nakukuha nila sa taxes, everything. Can you react?
Well, siyempre dahil in the kung personal enrichment, I cannot speak to that. Pero maliwanag sa 717 man lang, at least sa norte. I'm not talking about Burley tobacco, but when we're talking about Virginia tobacco, certainly napakalaki ang pera na napupunta dun sa communities natin. Just on a related note, can you please note that the sin taxes, as has been passed, wala silang nakolekta kahit isang sentimo. Because precisely the things that I brought up during the debates on the floor, that is exactly what has happened. Na lumagana pang smuggling, lumabas ang, all of the things that I said. And that is why the collections, as I pointed out, both as a quantitative solution and also as a qualitative argument, clearly has been shown to be flawed. And the effect of that, kung tignan ninyo, we're certainly going to be taking this up 1 year. 1 year after the sin taxes are enacted, I am going to stand up and tell you exactly what happened with the sin taxes. Kung makita natin kung effective o kung hindi. Pero sa first quarter ng 2013, wala silang nakolekta. because exactly of the things we warned them about, but they did not listen.
So ibig sabihin sir, yung sin tax na naipasa natin walang nangyari doon sa for the benefits ng tobacco industry sa North.
Talaga naman wala talaga mangyayari sa walang magiging benepisyo talaga sa tobacco industry. But even sa koleksyon ng gobyerno, di ba
may share yung 15%?
Sinasabi nila yung bilyon-bilyon na makukolekta, wala silang nakolekta. Because nagbago lang.
How about yung share ng tobacco workers?
Yun hindi dapat nagbago. Hindi nagbago.
Nakuha ba nila? For the first quarter?
Wala pa.
Wala pa.
Hindi ganyan talaga kabilis. Kasi titignan mo pa yung koleksyon ng lahat eh. You have to titignan mo kung anong ilang tonelada ang nanggaling sa Ilocos Norte, anong nanggaling sa hanggang barangay pa yan eh. So they have to calculate. Mahaba talaga, mahabang proseso yan. It takes a while.
Okay, Milky.
Senator, any plans for 2016, sir?
Many.
May we know what
Kaya
are those?
nako-confused na ako, napakarami ng plano.
Sir,
ito na lang ang sasabihin ko sa inyo. I'll definitely be running for something in 2016. I will still be
higher position, sir.
I will be a candidate for something. But what is the definition of opportunity? It is being of luck, sorry. The definition of good luck. Definition as far as I learned it is good luck is being ready when the opportunity presents itself. So baka swertehin ako sa 2016. Sometimes it's hard to understand why they take that position until you apply the political considerations of 2016. Then it becomes clear bakit ganun ang kanilang iniisip. Ha? Nag-umpisa sa Ilocos. Nung pumunta si Senator Bong dun sa amin. Senator Bong, tinanong sa akin, pwede ba yun? Sabi niya, bakit hindi? Ayun, nagkalat na.
So that's possible?
Well, anything is possible. Anything is possible. Parang naman hindi kayo sanay dito sa politika. Never say never. Ika nga. Never say never. Bongbong and Bong, ha? At least madali yung kampanya. Napakasimple.
When are you going to decide, sir?
Pero hindi pwede yung gano'n eh. Mahirap na yun. Mas magandang lalaki sa akin ang kasama ko.
Pagandahan ba ng
2015, sir?
Mga 2015, your announcement?
My announcement for?
For running for 2016.
I don't know.
After Aquino, Marcos naman sa palasyo. Pwede ba yun, sir? After Aquino, Marcos naman? Anta ba yan ng pagbabalik sa Malacanang?
Kayo talaga po.
Linda.
Puro niyo ako sinusubo sa alam.
Usapan na rin lang yung 2016. Just in case nagkaroon ng survey sa presidentiables, anumang araw mula ngayon, at kasama yung pangalan mo sa top 3 na luluta. Iko-confirm mo na ba?
Hindi lang naman sa survey yan eh. It's not only the surveys that alala ko one of the campaigns that I ran yung unang survey hindi ganun kaganda na awareness, the usual initial surveys that you run. And I remember somebody telling me, sabi ko, parang malayo masyado. And sabi, kaya may kampanya eh. So the survey is only to put you, to make you understand where you stand and what you need to do. So, but the key for me is not so much what the surveys say, is that how you can make those surveys change to your advantage. If you have a plan to do that, then good. Go ahead. Kung wala ka talagang maisip na plano, di huwag mo nang pipilitin at wala ka naman talagang magagawa. Kung yung mga dapat mong gawin, hindi mo kayang gawin, then what's the point?
So, may plano ka na sa 2016?
Marami nga akong plano sa 2016. Napakaraming plano. Kasama kayong lahat sa plano.
Basta huwag mo may kalilimutan, sir, sa plano nyo.
Kami ready maging Malacanang git eh. May ganon.
May 3 years ka pa para paghandaan. So with
To
that,
acquire seniority.
Excited ka na ba bumalik ng Malacanang, sir? Biglang gano'n.
Mahirap ang buhay. Maniwala kayo, mahirap ang buhay sa palasyo.